Am I the idiot for not answering any contact from work while on maternity leave? I work for my cousin. We're in the same field, but he owns a business. I started working for him 5 years ago and worked my way up to second or third in command at his fairly small company. I took 9 months of maternity leave, starting 2 weeks before my due date. My child is now 6 months old, meaning I am currently in my 7th month of leave, and go back to work in about 10 weeks. During the last 7 months, there's been a few crises at work. They called me and I fixed it. They should not have been doing this, due to my maternity leave, but I didn't mention it because these were legitimate crises, and most of the time it was my cousin asking. However, because I'm entering the end of my leave, I want some time completely free of work, to recharge before I have to dive back in. So, starting 2 weeks ago, I stopped answering my phone. At some point it died, so I put it in a drawer, and haven't plugged it in since. I have a landline for emergencies, a laptop to keep in touch with people, and a TV for entertainment, so I'm enjoying the break from the phone without issue. However, my cousin tried to call me about a week ago to get help with a client I handle. I had passed this client on to someone else, but something went wrong. My cousin called me to help, and because I didn't answer, we lost the client. I knew their contract was up for renewal, but I didn't think there would be any issues, so I saw no reason to check my phone. My cousin has told our family what happened. He's furious with me for not having my phone turned on when I knew that client would be up for renewal. He also says that as I had been answering my phone this whole time, I should have warned someone that I would be uncontactable. I have called the client and tried to fix it, but they've already signed on with someone else. My cousin, wanting to stop this from happening again as several more clients are up for renewal in the next couple months, has said I have to be available for the next couple months, so he can call me if there is another issue. I've said that I am on maternity leave, and therefore I should be left alone, so I will be leaving my phone off, and it's shitty of him to ask otherwise. My cousin said that I was being selfish and accused me of trying to frick him over, and my mother and aunt agree with him, saying if I don't answer my phone, there may not be a company to come back to, and accused me of taking advantage of him because he's my cousin, as anyone else would have fired me over this. I've responded that if my cousin can't run his own business without me, then he's incompetent and shouldn't be in charge of an omelet, let alone a company. They said that was uncalled for, and told me to switch my mobile on now so he can call me if he needs to, but I'm still refusing. Am I the idiot? Edit. Why do people think I went away with no plans in place? I had 6 months between figuring out I'd need the leave and going on leave, and I spent those 6 months assigning my clients to my coworkers, bringing people up to speed on said clients, and even holding meetings where I introduced the clients to their new handlers. I worked all of this out months ago. Now, for a few comments before the update. Everyone sucks here. He shouldn't have called you on maternity leave, but you had been answering the phone all through the previous 7 months. I don't think anyone can blame him for expecting you to still be taking work calls at the end as well. You should have just made it clear at the beginning that you weren't going to take any work calls at all. Comment 2. You're the idiot. Disclaimer. No workplace should expect an employee of any kind to be contactable during any form of leave, be it annual leave, sick leave, or maternity/paternity leave. Where I think you're the idiot here though is that by not saying from the start that you were uncontactable, you created the expectation that you would be available to some degree. You should have nipped it in the bud at the beginning. It is also perfectly reasonable of you to get to a point down the line where you say enough is enough and tell them that for the remainder of your leave you will not be contactable, but to just go no contact without alerting anyone was not professional. Now, for the update. Most of you agreed that I should not be working for my cousin. I mentioned in the last post that I'd had some offers from competitors, and while most paid about the same, they required a step down in my career. A few of you pointed out that if I can earn the same money after a step down, something isn't matching up. I did some research and came to the conclusion that I am being overworked and underpaid. I also triple-checked all my notes for the last 7 months of leave, and calculated that I had worked for 87 days out of just over 200. That was where I hit my limit. I then reached out to some of the people who had made offers previously, and asked if they could give me a formal offer. 3 of them did. My favorite has fewer hours/responsibilities and more money, and they're fine waiting on me to finish up my planned maternity leave, 9 more weeks, before I start. I had a check-in day scheduled for later this month, but pulled it forward to Monday and asked my cousin and a few others to be there. I laid out all of the above. I was open to negotiating in a way that would let me stay in the company, but my cousin flew off the handle, and after that we agreed that me staying was no longer an option. As I have 9 weeks of leave left, I will hand in my notice, meaning I will not come back to work, but I will be paid for this time, as well as compensated for the leave I lost. My cousin has blocked me on everything, but his mom has called my mom, who has been yelling at me for 2 days. I've had to block my own mother. My cousin is attempting to rally our entire family against me, but I have Nan on my side, so he is not succeeding. I am never working with my family again. Comment 1. Congrats on the new opportunities coming to you soon. Everyone should remember, nobody enters into a work relationship with family anticipating it turning into messy poop. Nobody. So when you think to yourself, I can't see those horror stories happening to us, just remember, either did the people in the horror stories. Comment 2, you're the idiot. Wow, you really showed your true colors in this update. Not only did you betray your cousin and leave the company hanging, but now you're bad-mouthing your own family and blocking your own mother? You're burning bridges left and right. Yes, you may have received some offers from competitors, but that doesn't excuse your unprofessional behavior and lack of consideration for your cousin's business. You claim to have been overworked and underpaid, but instead of addressing those issues in a mature and professional manner, you decided to throw a tantrum and walk away. Now, for the next story. Am I the idiot for telling my fiancé he can't invite his uncle, aunt, and cousin to our wedding? Last night my, female 27, fiancé, male 29, had a nightmare that woke him up. What it was about is irrelevant, so we were up talking at 5 a.m. All of a sudden he tells me that his dad started speaking to his brother, fiancé's uncle, again and that now we had to invite them to our wedding. We're on a tight budget. So tight it's unheard of in our area. So far we think we can pull it off, but we need to keep our guest list under 50 people so we're considered a micro-wedding. I've had to cut a lot of people from my side who we both love and really want there. But it's the price to pay if we want a wedding and to not just elope, so I accepted it. His sister has absolutely tortured me the entire 10 years we've been dating. Not enough characters to get into details. It makes me sick to my stomach to be in the same room as her. But he said, she's family, she has to be there. So I gave in and reluctantly said fine. Because of how she treats me, they're definitely not close anymore. But he says, she's still my sister. We're at our 50-person limit. We can't invite more people. So I told him hard no to his aunt, uncle, and cousin coming. Besides, his aunt is just as bad as his sister. She doesn't even want us together. I don't want two people who make me uncomfortable. This aunt, uncle, and cousin did not congratulate us on our engagement, nor have they ever reached out to my fiancé to say hello, happy birthday, ask to see him, ask how he is, etc. There was no fight between the uncle and his family and my fiancé's family. They just grew apart over the years. So here's why I think I'm not the idiot. I've already compromised twice. I cut so many relatives who mean the world to me and who I can't imagine getting married without, and I compromised by agreeing that his sister could come. Also, I had to knock 2 additional people off so there was a spot for his sister and her boyfriend. So I feel like I've done my share of compromising and losing out in the guest list department. In addition to my personal feelings, we have a strict limit from the venue that keeps us under 50 people. If we go above that, we're considered a regular-sized wedding, which adds thousands in fees that would put us too far over budget. This is the cheapest venue in our area and they all have similar rules, so switching isn't an option. I think I might be the idiot because it is his family. Maybe I should care less about my own feelings and cut something else. Would have to be a DJ or photographer, so we can afford to invite them? He was mad enough that he rolled away from me. We were cuddling, and didn't talk to me the rest of the night, technically morning, and he didn't wake me up to kiss me goodbye in the morning. I asked him to do that. He's not being a prick by waking me up. That's not a typical reaction from him, so I could tell he was hurt. Now for a few comments before the update. Not the idiot. Maybe talk about this again when it's not the middle of the night. Probably when he's had some time to think about it / it's not 5 a.m. he will be more reasonable. If not, then he can find some people to cut from his side if he really wants them there. Pick a time when you're both awake, fed, not drunk, ideally before 9 p.m. and then talk about it again. Turn the problem back on him. Okay, we can have 50 guests, you have these 25 people on your side, adding extra people will cost this much. What do you think is the best solution? Then the original poster responded with, I'm so glad we don't drink. Wedding planning drunk sounds like a not very good time. Haha. You're right though. 5 a.m. was not the time for this. Comment 2. Info, how many people were invited on each side? Then the original poster responded with, relative-wise I have one more persona than he does. But we've been together 10 years, so at this point anyone not related to us is our friend, not really mine or his. So I guess that's equal to? I could try to go in and try to divide up the friends if you think that matters. Now for the update. Hi everyone. I figured I'd update on my last post. Most gave great advice, others took giant leaps based on one post. Some people thought we should break up over this or that we shouldn't have gotten engaged in the first place. Character limits meant leaving out a lot of details regarding that stuff. Fiancé does protect me from his sister, an aunt, and anything else in life I need protecting from. We've steered clear of aunt as much as possible, and he always defended me if we couldn't avoid her. Maybe torture was too strong of a word, but I was upset. She tells him to break up with me for being ugly and not having big enough boobs. She's told me if I loved him I'd leave. He was a big shot football player in high school and I was the nerd who ate lunch alone. Classmates, and for some reason his aunt didn't want to see us together, and apparently some of them are still stuck in high school. Having his sister in and out of my life has been my decision. She's mentally ill, and before her latest/biggest decline we were extremely close. I love her more than anything and miss her so bad it hurts. I want her to get help and get better so she can be a part of my life again. I struggle with keeping her away worse than he does sometimes. He never let her do anything or force me to do anything. I'll admit my fiancé wasn't always perfect about boundaries and such, but that was in the beginning of our relationship when we were both literally children. We've both grown since then. As I mentioned, he had a really bad nightmare, and this conversation took place at 5 a.m. when he woke up literally crying from it. And he is very much not a crier. The nightmare was about his father dying. We already lost my mother-in-law not too long ago, and the thought of losing his dad too terrified him. The comment about his aunt and uncle was one sentence he blurted out in the middle of all that. We talked about it the next evening when he got home from work. He brought it up to me first, actually, and said, "Please forget what I said last night. It would be really stupid to invite those three. I was just having a moment," and I said okay and reminded him that his dad is okay and asked if he wanted to plan a day trip to go visit. He said yes and we went the next day and had a great time. Oh, I also asked him why he would roll over and ignore me and he said his intention was to keep talking but he genuinely just fell back asleep, which I believe because he was literally snoring moments later. I also double-checked with him that we both agreed the guest list was even, and we do both feel that way. Some friends are mutual and don't belong on one side or the other but are definitely a both sides thing. Everyone also said we should have a rule that if we want to add someone we need to take someone from our side away. We both agreed to that too. We're happy and talked it out. No toxicity or red flags here. Comment 1. Good job on talking it out. Also, everyone does/says stupid things when emotional and or super tired. Sounds like fiancé was both, if he was even fully awake, but the fact that he had a nightmare about this might mean that he is dealing with this issue on a subconscious level. Is there a way to get him, and maybe you too since you've also had to deal with these toxic people, to see a therapist and or using some mental health strategies? Mental health is important and super necessary to take care of. Comment 2. Wonderful update. People say the weirdest things in their sleep. My mom called me into her room last night to tell me to move cars in the driveway. She was thinking of an old house in NJ, I think. We only have one car and live on an acre in the sticks. You got it all straightened out and are good. Have a great wedding. If you enjoyed today's video, you'll like these ones too. Thanks for watching and see you next time.